Hello, hello, and welcome to Secure and Modernize PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud, Automation, Security, Performance, and Lifecycle Management. My name is Scott Labry. I am the head of marketing here at Apcian, and I would like to thank you for your participation today in the PeopleSoft Innovation Summit. Our presenter is Arvind. He is from Astute Business Solutions. And before we begin, I just have a few housekeeping notes for you. And that's everyone is on mute and the session is being recorded, and the recording will be posted along with all of the other sessions on the registration landing page for free on-demand viewing. That should be posted at some point early next week. And the session today will be 45 minutes, so that means we'll have limited time for Q&A. So I would like to encourage you to reach out to the presenter directly. Arvind will be including his contact information, or you can go ahead and put your question in the question section of the control panel. It's on the right side of the screen. We'll see that, and we can reach out to you directly after the presentation. So with that, I'll now turn things over to Arvind to begin today's presentation. Arvind?
Thank you so much, Scott, and hello, everybody. My name is Arvind Rajan. I'm co-founder and CEO of Astute Business Solutions, and I'm excited to be here at the PeopleSoft Innovation Summit with Apcian's invitation to talk to you all about how you can secure and modernize PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. So let's get started. A little bit about Astute Business Solutions and why we are here to talk to you today and what some of our experience has been. We've been in business for 14 years. We've completed over 30 successful PeopleSoft Move and Improve projects to Oracle Cloud. And we're really thrilled about the fact that 100% of our cloud migration projects have been successful and all of our customers are referenceable. We have the capabilities and the expertise to migrate PeopleSoft, disaster recovery, OBIEE workloads from on-premise or hosted locations into the Oracle Cloud. And we are also helping customers implement Integration Cloud, chatbots using Oracle Digital Assistant, and Oracle Analytics Cloud on Oracle's autonomous data warehouse. Here's a quick snapshot of all the things that we do in addition to Move and Improve. Just wanted to point out that these are all individual service offerings, but they come together in the context of a customer need. So some customers may want a PeopleSoft to cloud migration along with managed services. PeopleSoft just recently certified Oracle's autonomous database, so some of you may be looking to move to autonomous. Others may be thinking about analytics as their first step into the cloud. So we have all of these competencies that we can help you out with. Now, our DNA is really comprised of PeopleSoft. My co-founders and I worked for PeopleSoft prior to the Oracle acquisition, and you'll see that over the course of the Innovation Summit from many of the presenters who had long ties with PeopleSoft as a company and PeopleSoft applications, some of them for 20 years or more. Same story with us, and our focus really in today's world is most customers we know are on the latest release of PeopleSoft, so they're really looking forward to modernizing their applications. And modernization for many customers may mean Kibana Analytics, chatbots, Analytics Cloud, Integration Cloud, but security is also extremely important. There's no shortage of news about ransomware attacks and external breaches and internal leaks. So ensuring that customers have their PeopleSoft applications encrypted, their data privacy masking solutions built in, and then at the periphery, intrusion detection and prevention, and SSO solutions to secure their workloads. Automation is really where everybody is headed on cloud, and that's one of the biggest drivers to move to cloud. So we offer solutions for robotic process automation, or RPA, with Automation Anywhere, workflow automation in PeopleSoft, PeopleSoft Test Framework, which we have led the way in over a number of years with our automated library and tools called Fast Test. And in the cloud world, automation can mean Cloud Manager, automated cloud monitoring, and automated disaster recovery. Customers are also looking to simplify their PeopleSoft operations. They want to reduce the overheads of maintaining and supporting PeopleSoft, and that may mean decustomizing applications, streamlining support, and enhancing SLAs and response times. And some of you can take our help in right-sizing our architecture, tuning our applications for better performance, and reducing costs. We serve customers across all of these areas depending on their needs. Now, we've been investing in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure for a number of years. Before we started working on OCI, or Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, our first foray into cloud was back in the PeopleSoft days when we were working as a team supporting PeopleSoft's hosted customers. And back in the day, that was called eCenter. From there on, we went to many private cloud solutions and then on to AWS in 2013, and then to OCI in 2016. And since then, we have not looked back. We've had a number of firsts in terms of PeopleSoft production success stories on both Gen 1 and Gen 2 Oracle clouds. And we've been first to develop marketplace solutions for chatbots, for analytics cloud, and so on. And we continue to partner very closely with Oracle on the cloud side, with the product strategy team at PeopleSoft, and with the sales and marketing organizations. So let's talk about how we can make the business case for PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. Now, I'm sure the message about moving and improving or lifting and shifting PeopleSoft to Oracle Cloud is not new. This is not the first time you're hearing that. Some of you may have been on a webinar that we have conducted before. You've heard this from Dave Bain and others in the Oracle PeopleSoft product strategy team about Cloud Manager and how it can bring in efficiencies. And you may have heard this at Reconnect, at Oracle Open World, and many other conferences. But the reality today is less than 10 or 15% of the PeopleSoft customer base is operating PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. So there's a huge potential for growth. And some of you may need help in making the business case internally in your organizations on why you should run PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. It starts by acknowledging that running PeopleSoft on-prem is challenging. Now, the challenges may vary depending on who you are, how large your team is, how qualified they are, what resources you have, what your budget is. But in general terms, there are significant cost pressures on every organization today. We know that COVID is not making things easy. It is, in fact, putting more pressure, and IT organizations especially are being asked to do more with less. So Oracle Cloud here has proven with a number of customers that it can reduce TCO while improving performance for your PeopleSoft applications. The second major challenge is the PeopleSoft market and the PeopleSoft consulting pool is shrinking year on year. Customers have tenured resources who have worked there for a long time, and many of them are coming up on retirement, and some others are just looking to move away from PeopleSoft and reskill themselves in cloud services like SaaS applications and cloud native applications. So customers are experiencing a skill shortage. And here what Oracle Cloud can do for you is it alleviates the resource and bandwidth challenges by taking a lot of the things that you would otherwise do manually and providing you tools that can take care of those same tasks. And lastly, a lot of customers are struggling with just manual processes on-prem to support PeopleSoft, whether it is a simple task of refreshing an environment, or whether it is migrating projects, or whether it is provisioning new environments for a project. All of these things tend to be challenges at various levels. So Oracle Cloud automates lifecycle management tasks and simplifies these things. So Oracle Cloud Infrastructure is agile, which means it delivers speed, time to value. If your business users are looking for a new feature in the latest PUM image for PeopleSoft, you have the ability to spin up an instance in a fully automated manner, download that image, and apply the feature selectively much faster than you would do it on-prem, which means now your business users can get a hold of that, they can use it, and they can demonstrate efficiency and productivity on their side. It is secure, so you don't want to move to a cloud that does not handle security and does not prioritize security. So there are many levels of security, and we're going to talk a little bit about what that means today. And I'd also like to acknowledge our partnership with Appian that has led the way over the last many years in security solutions for PeopleSoft customers, whether it is on-prem or in the cloud. And the focus now is cloud for everybody going forward. But when we talk about security, we mean that security should not just be individual to your PeopleSoft applications, but it should be enterprise-wide, it should be across customers, it should be standardized, it should be compliant, it should be auditable, and you should have control over your instances and your security model. Oracle Cloud delivers on all of those promises. Oracle Cloud is efficient, so you should expect lower costs. Otherwise, why would anybody move to cloud? That's one of the fundamental reasons why people are moving to cloud today. In addition to, elasticity and things like that. But what we have found with experience is you can lower your cost, and at the same time, you can improve performance when you move PeopleSoft to Oracle Cloud. These two do not have to be mutually exclusive. They go hand in hand, and that's a really good combination for customers. And then lastly, Oracle Cloud is flexible. And what we mean by this is moving to cloud means that your PeopleSoft applications running on Oracle Cloud have to be able to seamlessly integrate to other applications that may still be on-prem, that may never move to cloud or may move to cloud at a later stage. And we know that many of you have choice today, so you're not going to put everything on one cloud. You may have Azure for O365 and SharePoint and maybe even SSO, and you may have, excuse me, some workloads running on AWS. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, has always supported a multi-cloud and hybrid cloud deployment and gives you a lot of flexibility in that regard. So let's recap some of the advantages. Lower TCO than on-premises and competing clouds, and we have models to compare these side by side. If you're looking at AWS, Azure, Google, we can compete in terms of price and performance. Superior performance backed by SLA. So what we mean here is that Oracle has probably the best industry SLA for cloud, not just from an availability and uptime standpoint, but also from performance and manageability. And there are hard SLAs that are written into your contract, and they also include penalties if those SLAs are not met. No other cloud provider is able to do that. It's still the same PeopleSoft when you run it on OCI. You are not really moving to SaaS. You are not forced to change your business processes. If you like your customizations, you can keep them. You don't have to retool your integrations. But while keeping the PeopleSoft that you know, that you've built, and that you like to use, you can automate migration, lifecycle management, deployment, security, monitoring, and a number of other things related to PeopleSoft. And then the unique capabilities that you get running an Oracle application on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. As a company, Oracle owns the full stack: infrastructure, application, security, database, and so on, and has provided a very nice vertically integrated solution that plays to your benefit. So here's what you should expect when you consider moving or improving or lifting and shifting PeopleSoft onto Oracle Cloud. Your disaster recovery solution on average should be 60 to 70% lower on cloud compared to what you're paying on-prem for disaster recovery. Because typically in the on-prem world, DR requires a mirrored production environment to be stood up in a secondary data center, which means you have some large costs associated with hardware, software, and maintenance of that DR platform. Whereas on cloud, it works in a fully automated manner, and you can start with a fractional footprint. You should expect 40 to 50% lower costs in infrastructure. And this is just industry trend overall, but Oracle has put together very competitive pricing. So from simple VMs to storage blocks to database cloud services and networking services, you should expect significant reductions in cost year on year. You should expect to spend less on maintenance, because now at the push of a button, you can upgrade a database, you can upgrade people tools, you can patch people tools, you can easily move instances as underlying infrastructures being upgraded by Oracle as a cloud provider without impacting your SLAs or uptime. So overall maintenance costs are much lower. And then upgrades to PeopleSoft. We spoke about one-click upgrades, and I'll talk a little bit more about Cloud Manager later on in today's presentation. But having the ability to take an instance and point to it and say, upgrade it to 858, walk away and come back a few hours later and find that instance to be upgraded to the latest tools release, that is magic. So you are going to have significant savings on people tools upgrades and people tools patches. Here's some more detail on that, and I'll just put this up for a few seconds and let you read it. We spoke about people tools patch and upgrade. the ability to automatically set up PUM images for selective adoption, automatic cloning and self-service provisioning, the ability to leverage some of the higher versions of Oracle database, such as RAC and Exadata Cloud Service. All of these are unique to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Cloud Manager itself, which is a new application that PeopleSoft has developed over the last few years, is entirely free for customers to use and take advantage of when you run PeopleSoft on OCI. It is not available on-prem, it is not available on other clouds, and that is a huge differentiator for PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. So now let's talk about, we spoke about the value proposition, making the business case, what data points you can use to support the move to cloud and the decision to move to cloud. But let's assume that you've made the decision to move to cloud. Let's talk about how you should plan your cloud journey. And this is important because every customer may have a unique combination of Oracle and non-Oracle applications, different integration points, different sizes of databases, different levels of customization, and different security needs depending on the industry. Some of you may be regulated, others maybe not, but security is a big concern for everybody. So how do you plan your migration to cloud? It really starts by understanding that cloud is a journey. It's not a one and done type project. And the reason I'm saying that is you can consider cloud as a location where you want to run PeopleSoft today, but tomorrow cloud may be some place where you run all of your productivity applications. It may be where you do all of your analytics. It may be where you build chatbots. It may be the disaster recovery destination for not just PeopleSoft, but for all of your applications in your IT portfolio. So cloud is truly a journey. And the other reason for that is cloud is also evolving at a very fast pace. New features, enhancements to existing technologies, more automation, more standardization, better integration. So as these services are dropped onto your tenancy and as you have the opportunity to take advantage of that, you will continue to improve, continue to extend. So definitely think of cloud as a journey and not as a one-stop destination that you will just do one project and forget about it. There are some easy ways to get started on cloud. If PeopleSoft Lift and Shift is not something that you can take on immediately, you can consider putting a PeopleSoft DR environment on OCI. It's fully automated, easy to implement, highly economical, non-disruptive, as in no upgrades, no outages for your on-prem business, and so on. If you're not ready to do anything with PeopleSoft, but you want to take advantage of cloud for platform services such as chatbots or analytics, then that's a great way to get started because those cloud services can connect to PeopleSoft wherever it's running today, but still give you the power of cloud to extend your data into those platforms. So here, let's talk about PeopleSoft specifically and moving PeopleSoft to cloud. There are three main ways we think that you can move PeopleSoft onto cloud. The first one is a lift and shift. And this works well if you're fairly current with PeopleSoft in terms of application, tools, and PUM. And when you're current with application and tools, you're also meeting the hardware and software requirements that PeopleSoft puts together in PeopleTools, which means your underlying OS and database are also fairly current. Now, this does not require, this option one for lift and shift does not mean that you have to be on the latest version across the board. But if you're on 9.2, if you're on tools 8.5.5 or higher, which most customers are these days, if you're on PUM 20 or higher, say, for example, not everybody may be on the latest 35 or 36 image. And if your databases are also fairly current and supported, then lift and shift, which is moving everything as is to cloud, is the fastest way to get to cloud. There are lots of automation tools to make this happen, and your migration could be very seamless and it could be fast and efficient. Now, if for some reason you are not very current, but you're interested in using cloud as a way to move and improve, and what move and improve means is you may be on 9.2, but you may be on a very old PUM image. You may not be on a current PeopleTools version, and you're already planning an upgrade, and you may want to do a get current PUM update. Then cloud is an excellent way to get started with that move and improve project. And along the way, you may also be able to refresh your operating system versions and other things related to PeopleSoft. And the last one is transform. So some of you that we are working with are still on an older release like 9.0, some on 9.1. And some of you may be on older releases or not, but you may be going through some major changes in your business, which means you may be going through a merger and acquisition or a divestiture, or your business has radically grown over the last few years, requiring you to revisit your PeopleSoft configuration. So we're talking to customers today who are looking to rebuild their chart of accounts and essentially re-implement PeopleSoft. But they still like PeopleSoft, so they want to be on the platform, but they want to re-implement, reconfigure it. So that sort of a transformation approach can also be applied for PeopleSoft on cloud, and it makes those projects go much faster, much more cost efficient, and with the secure and automated platform. But the idea with all three models is you're trying to modernize PeopleSoft at various levels with varying degrees of success, depending on what your starting point is. But it's important to remember that when you move PeopleSoft to Oracle Cloud, we are not talking about ripping and replacing PeopleSoft with a SaaS product like Oracle HCM Cloud or Oracle ERP Cloud or Supply Chain Cloud. Here we're talking about running PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So the same application, which means all of your customizations move to the cloud as is without any changes. Unless, of course, you want to do a move and improve and you want to say, I want to drop customizations, I want to decustomize, I want to go vanilla. We always welcome those, and Oracle has always recommended that. But you don't have to feel forced to make that change, because the lift and shift process lifts your entire database. All of your metadata related to customizations are stored in PeopleTools tables within your database. They all move untouched and with full integrity onto the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. When it comes to integrations, we know PeopleSoft is not a siloed application. It talks to maybe tens or hundreds of applications and interface points depending on your specific implementation. Now, the good news is your interface programs and protocols don't change at all. If you have web services today, if you have flat file interfaces, if you have DB links, if you have messaging between PeopleSoft and other applications, all of those things work exactly the same way, except that now when that one endpoint, which is your PeopleSoft application, moves to the cloud, you're just going to repoint that interface and say, PeopleSoft is now running over here, point to that, and the same program should work. So integration, again, no rip and replace. It works exactly the same protocol, same technologies, all of your favorite PeopleTools-based interfaces and integration programs fully supported. When it comes to security, your PeopleSoft application security, database security, web and app server security, again, moves as is to the cloud without any changes. But here's where you have a huge advantage. You can take a call and you can say, I want to either revamp security or improve security. Appsian has a number of products that all of you are already familiar with, but our partnership with them allows us to recommend those solutions to improve your security posture when you go on to OCI and integrate that in a very nice way into your solution. Access control, we get a lot of questions about this. What happens to my envisioned reports? What happens to my two-tier access? How do my developers get to PeopleSoft on cloud? Short answer, exactly the same way that you're doing it today. If you have PeopleTools installed on your local machines and you are used to opening up a app designer program and connecting to your PeopleSoft instance, that will not change. You will do exactly the same. Behind the scenes with cloud network connectivity, we ensure that all of this is as seamless as it can be. So here's a quick example of a proven OCI migration approach. By no means is this the only way to do it, but having moved hundreds of PeopleSoft instances to the cloud, and having done that in multiple clouds now, we moved a number of workloads to AWS, then from AWS to OCI. And now for the last 4 years, we've been moving so many of these PeopleSoft application workloads in HR, in financials, in campus solutions, Interaction Hub, for CRM, and all of these applications. We feel that this approach is something that has been proven to be successful again and again. The first thing and the most important thing in a migration plan is a design workshop. And here's where we bring the best of what Oracle has to offer and what we have built in terms of solution architecture, best practices, and all the templates that we've developed. and work with you to envision your future state and then tailor the solution to meet your needs. Wherever applicable, we want to take advantage of what is pre-built so that you save the time and effort in having to design all those from scratch. But we do want to acknowledge that you may have a specific a particular pace for change, a particular risk profile, and it's important for us to address that and then tailor the plan to your need and design the solution that meets or exceeds your needs. Once we're past that stage, then we come in with this heavy dose of automation. And our migration is either based on Cloud Manager, if it's a individual instance or a small set of instances. But for some of those larger customers who have hundreds of VMs that have to be migrated across multiple applications, we use Rackware's migration platform to provide rapid migration and also a very predictable outcome. Along the way, some of you customers I know run PeopleSoft on Microsoft SQL Server. We have automation to lift and shift PeopleSoft and run PeopleSoft on SQL Server on OCI as is, unchanged. But if you're interested in looking at the longer term benefits of running PeopleSoft on Oracle database and eventually moving over to autonomous and taking advantage of Cloud Manager running PeopleSoft on Oracle database, then we also have the option of converting your database platform from Microsoft or DB2 or whatever other platform you may be running on to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Database Cloud Service. Integration, I spoke about this, but just quickly touching on that, supporting that hybrid cloud model. PeopleSoft running on OCI, maybe some other related applications on OCI, but a number of workloads, homegrown or other packaged applications running on-prem. And then we know that you already have many other cloud services. Those may be storage, those may be expense applications, those may be SaaS workloads. So you may have, for example, PeopleSoft HCM has already moved to Workday or to Oracle HCM Cloud, and financial still has to integrate with cloud. Or you may have Salesforce in the cloud, or you may have ServiceNow as your help desk system. So integrating with all those third-party cloud systems is part and parcel of any cloud migration project. And then most importantly, that hypercare, ensuring that we don't just help you with that lift and shift, but stick around until you run your first full business cycle. And for HR customers and HCM customers, it may be payroll, it may be your first open enrollment. For financials customers, it's usually your period close and some other activity like that. So to support that and ensure that all of that is validated and running as expected on OCI is really important. So if you understand that approach, then here's the combination that we think is going to help you be successful. Astute Business Solutions in partnership with Appian, and then Rackware, our ISV partner, that brings in some really powerful automation tools that can help you migrate to cloud in as little as 8 weeks. And of course, that has some assumptions baked in there on the size of your environment, number of environments, and so on. But some of our larger engagements have been 12 to 16 weeks, and a lot of the smaller projects are 8 weeks. And we also have the ability to put a single instance of PeopleSoft on cloud in as short as a 1 week time frame, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that later on in today's presentation. So how do you successfully migrate to the cloud? So we spoke about making the business case, planning your cloud journey. Now let's talk about how you can be successful in the actual migration. So it really starts with this foundation of cloud network and cloud security. Without this, no PeopleSoft to cloud migration project can be successful. And if you don't have a good understanding of how to implement and how to configure the software-defined network on Oracle Cloud, and more importantly, build that cloud networking solution as an extension of your on-prem network, then if you don't do that correctly, then a lot of things downstream may be impacted. So understanding network connectivity, understanding all of these cloud terminologies. I don't expect everybody to know this in today's meeting, but this is where we come in and do those design workshops that I was talking about and explain how these things work and help you implement a best practice-based solution, a Oracle validated solution architecture that gives you virtual cloud networks, firewalls, security lists, and all of the other things that you would need to be successful yet secure. And as I mentioned, the Appian solution that we can overlay on the application layer to provide that additional level of security and monitoring for PeopleSoft applications running on Oracle Cloud. So if we have the cloud network foundation in place and the security model in place, then we come in with the PeopleSoft Lift and Shift and assume that you're using a tool like Cloud Manager or Astute's automation tools. Deploy the PeopleSoft application, lift and shift it, deploy it on OCI, and at the same time choose the right target architecture, the target sizing, so that we can right size your workloads while we're moving you to cloud. And then we follow a very rigorous process of testing everything from unit testing to system integration testing to UAT, so that you're comfortable, you can sign off and go live. Now, there are many other things that happen behind the scenes, and in the interest of time, I won't go into the full details. But one of the things that you will see in our customer success stories online on our website is many of our customers have migrated PeopleSoft to cloud, where the users have gone home on a Friday evening, come back on a Monday morning, clicked on the same login link, and they're now using PeopleSoft in the cloud. So we have engineered this model to be as seamless as that. So for them, the change impact can be zero. And this is, of course, assuming we're doing a lift and shift of as is to OCI. But the key takeaway from there is that there are tools available that can bring over your entire applications, all the software, all the hardening that you've done from a security standpoint, including host names, so that we can minimize the change impact when you do the lift and shift process. Here's what a sample 8-week timeline looks like. Now, of course, not every customer will have an 8-week project. Many of you may, but it's important to just understand conceptually what a migration would look like. What are some of the major milestones, when you can expect to complete them, and what are some of the deliverables that you would expect coming out of a cloud migration project like that. So starting with a kickoff, going through the design workshops, doing your build on OCI, working on integrations, going through the testing motions, and then go live and transition to a managed service model, which is one of our key capabilities on OCI, because many of you are moving to cloud, not just to modernize, but you also are trying to get away from the run and maintain tasks and have your teams focus more on building value-added solutions with PeopleSoft and with other technologies. So if that is your approach, then we seamlessly transition you from the lift and shift project over to our managed service model on cloud. Some of the deliverables that you would expect of any project, but specifically on cloud: a project plan, detailed design documents, test plan documents, integration documents, security plans. All of these things are built into our implementation model. Here's what the PeopleSoft validated architecture looks like on OCI. I know this is a busy slide and there's a lot to take in here, but the takeaway from this, and this is on Oracle's website, by the way, so it's, if you just Google PeopleSoft validated solution architecture on Oracle Cloud, that phrase will take you to a web page that has all of this information. And the idea here is that there is separation between each tier in PeopleSoft. That's a recommendation, is to set up your cloud network. Remember, just a few minutes ago, I spoke about how important it is to build a strong foundation with your software-defined network on cloud and the right security model for that software-defined network. And that's what this diagram is trying to convey, is from web to app to database and other layers in PeopleSoft, everything can be separated but fully integrated with high performance, with very high bandwidth between the layers, and still giving you the secure access that you need from your data center, from your corporate network. If you have self-service applications that require public-facing solutions, those are available. If you need connectivity to third-party clouds or third-party data centers, those are available. And it is highly fault tolerant. You have high availability at every layer of the stack, and you have security that is granular, where you can apply it at the workload level, at the subnet level, in addition to everything that you would do on the application and database layers. A little bit about network connectivity. Typically on most projects, we start you off with a VPN network, because that's easy to implement. It's usually half a day's worth of work to coordinate with your on-prem network team and set up a secure VPN. And that way we can get you started. Many of you may be just happy with a VPN for production as well. It really depends on your workload, the number of people accessing it, and the volume of transactions that you run on PeopleSoft. So we have some really good calculators that can help you decide whether VPN is enough or not. Whether if it's VPN, there's always a primary and a secondary tunnel at a minimum, so for redundancy purposes. For those of you who want more bandwidth than what a VPN could support, Oracle offers Fast Connect, which is a dedicated network connection from your data center to Oracle Cloud with high bandwidth. And here's where your WAN provider would come in and provide that last mile connectivity into OCI. For some of our customers that have used Fast Connect, the sequence has been that we've started the project with VPN because that is sufficient for us to start migrations and set up cloud. And then while we're working on the project, Fast Connect comes in and we switch over to that and then retain VPN as our secondary option. Integrations on OCI, we spoke about how nothing in PeopleSoft interfaces have to change. But if you're interested in knowing a little bit more about how these things work behind the scenes, what the connectivity looks like, what the ports and protocols are that are allowed into cloud and how you secure them, then all of these things are also very well defined in OCI, specifically for PeopleSoft. We know that PeopleSoft customers have lots of file-based integrations. So you'll have an FTP or SFTP server with probably a file share sitting somewhere in your network. And you don't have to move them if you don't want to, but if you're ready to move that file share over and enhance that security solution profile for flat file integrations, then those options are also available as you move to cloud. Again, I want to restate, you are not forced to change any of those things, but there are improvements that can be applied depending on what you have today in your on-premise environment. So now let's talk a little bit about how you can maximize Oracle Cloud for PeopleSoft. Obviously, putting PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud infrastructure itself with Oracle Database Cloud Service, Autonomous Database, all of these things give you significant advantages. It gives you scalability, performance, better security. I forgot to mention that Oracle Database Cloud Service, for example, has transparent database encryption, or TDE, turned on by default. So when you deploy a database instance on cloud, the database is encrypted both with data at rest and data at motion. So that's important. All files that you store on Oracle Cloud are encrypted. They're backed up, they're triple mirrored, all storage devices are triple mirrored. So you have all of that going for you. But in addition to that, you can consider extending your Oracle Cloud applications for PeopleSoft with something like Oracle Integration Cloud. Now, the classic use case for Oracle Integration Cloud is that you have a SaaS footprint, either with Salesforce or NetSuite or Workday or Oracle HCM Cloud or ERP Cloud, and a PeopleSoft footprint on-prem. Oracle Integration Cloud has pre-built adapters for PeopleSoft to talk to these applications, whether they're Oracle SaaS applications or third-party non-SaaS applications. But Integration Cloud gives you the ability to streamline all of your integrations using a cloud layer, using standardized interfaces. It supports all the protocols and technologies that PeopleSoft requires. And you can also include RPA-based solutions on top of this with process automation. Oracle Analytics Cloud, for those of you that are OBI-EE customers on-prem, this is really the future roadmap for you, is to take advantage of Oracle Analytics Cloud by plugging in your PeopleSoft data sources into Oracle Analytics Cloud directly or through Autonomous Data Warehouse, and take advantage of self-service data discovery, augmented analytics, natural language processing, and so much more. In our experience in implementing OAC, we've found that it is just so easy to spin up that instance and connect it to PeopleSoft using a ready-made adapter and start discovering insights that you otherwise would have spent months creating custom programs and hiring consultants and an army of people to do that for you. So a great way to get started in the cloud, or something that you can do to extend PeopleSoft into the cloud by using the power of OAC. So let's spend a few minutes looking at how customers have done all of this in the cloud and what degrees of success they've all achieved, because it's really important to contextualize this, right? It's one thing for me to say this and for Oracle to say something about their capabilities on cloud and Cloud Manager and so on, but the rubber hits the road meets the road when you really have customers not only doing this, but also testifying to the results and saying that, yes, we did this and we benefited by doing this. So here I selected some customers today that I think could be a good cross section that represents some simple projects, some highly complex projects, and some in between. And I tried to pick some case studies that were representative of different industries, because some of those also had compliance requirements and security requirements tied to those industries. So the very first one that I want to talk about, and this is also featured on Oracle's website, care.org, a global nonprofit based in Atlanta, operating in over 100 countries. Many of you may be familiar with the term care package, and that was really something that CARE started back in 1945 during World War II as a way for Americans to send care packages containing emergency supplies and medicines and things like that to their loved ones during the war. Now, fast forward to 2020, CARE is a global humanitarian organization working in over 100 countries, directly serving the needs of over 56 million people. And PeopleSoft Financials and Supply Chain is the backbone of that operation. So not only for core financials, but for procurement, for expense management, for time entry, and a number of other features. So grants management also. So they were running on PeopleSoft Financials 9.1, and this is that use case that we spoke about, the second leg of the pathways to cloud. CARE wanted to move and improve, which means not only did they want to move to OCI Gen 2 to take advantage of cloud, but they also wanted to include an application and tools upgrade in that process. So it took them 6 months to do that entire project, which included the full application upgrade, tools upgrade, the latest PUM and tools versions, some enhancements to PeopleSoft with Fluid, and the cloud migration to get better performance, lower cost, and so on. And these are some of the results that they've experienced. Overall TCO reduction by 32%, 85% performance increase in some key areas, 90% faster deployment of PeopleSoft instances, largely driven by cloud automation, cloud manager. And then their staff, especially their global field staff using expenses and things like that, they're just working on a system that is always available anywhere in the world with super fast network connectivity, and they're just being more efficient in their day-to-day tasks. Great example. So if you Google oracle.com and CARE success story, you'll find a video testimonial by CARE also on Oracle's website. In higher education, Gallaudet University, as most universities you will see in PeopleSoft have HR, finance, and campus solutions, they had the same footprint, but they had HCM and FSCM already on 9.2. Not as current, but they were on 9.2. And this goes back to, again, the three-step model or three approaches that you have for moving PeopleSoft into cloud. So here we chose a hybrid approach. HCM and FSCM, given that they were already on 9.2, running on a fairly current version of Oracle database and on tools 855 or higher, both of those qualified for a lift and shift to OCI. Whereas Campus Solutions was running on 9.0 and they were in need of an upgrade. So that became a move and improve. And Gallaudet University ended up dropping 90% of their customizations as part of that upgrade to 9.2. Huge, huge move forward in standardizing their deployment and setting them up for success with PUM updates and things like that in the future. So now all three projects combined were executed in 7 months, start to finish. So 3 cloud migrations, one of them being a huge move and improve project with 90% decustomization. Gallaudet experienced a lot of success. Now their CIO, Earl Parks, has provided a testimonial. In addition to all of these benefits that you're seeing on the screen, he has shared a case study with Oracle and with Astute, where they are saving $600,000 a year on operational costs, not only because of moving to cloud, but also because of the managed services that has helped them reduce the ongoing support and maintenance of PeopleSoft, Astute being their managed services provider. In financial services, this is an example of a customer that was going through a divestiture process. So their parent company, Hanover Insurance, was divesting them, and Chaucer needed a cloud native solution because they were a new entity in the UK. They are running in the London region of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, GDPR compliance, which was really important for them. And their need was move me to cloud as is, because I have to do this within 90 days to meet my divestiture timeline, with the future outlook of upgrading and re-implementing some aspects of PeopleSoft. So the company that acquired them from Hanover Insurance had a global footprint in the reinsurance market, and their business model was changing. So now they're in the process of re-implementing their chart of accounts on OCI. So this goes to how you can start with OCI with so many different entry points. In this case, the customer knew they were not on the current version, but they wanted to get onto cloud and be stable there, and then use the advantages of cloud for their upgrade and re-implementation project. Again, some very compelling numbers in terms of performance, lowering cost, and things like that. And then lastly, in healthcare, I wanted to share this with you. Virens Health, again, a spin-off of GE Healthcare. This should say 9.2. I apologize for the typo. So we did a lift and shift of 9.2 to OCI, and they're continuing to run and extend their PeopleSoft applications on OCI. They're on Tools 858, a cloud manager one-click upgrade project, as a matter of fact, and they're doing a PUM update, and they're seeing some huge advantages across the board in terms of their PeopleSoft applications on OCI. So with that, and then maybe one more, sorry. So SDI, again, a very strong customer success in the small and medium business market, a supply chain and logistics company. We're providing MRO services to all of their customers, with PeopleSoft procurement and supply chain being the backbone for that. Their CIO, Kelly Kleinfelder, has gone on record and has done some videos with us on how her team benefited by doing this. Here, they not only had some issues with their on-prem data center that was failing, but they also had some resource attrition challenges that we were able to address. And now with managed services, they are assured that they'll always be current and always be able to operate PeopleSoft in a very efficient manner. So you've heard all of this. You heard about the business case for moving to cloud, how you plan your cloud journey to be successful, how do you implement and be successful in an actual migration, how you can extend into cloud, and then what customers have done before you, so that you have a lot of examples and references. So what can you do? Next steps, you can either dip your toes in cloud, or you can take a deep dive. And that means that you can start small with disaster recovery or a small dev test instance, or you can do a big bang lift and shift projects, as many customers have done. It really depends on your business need, your ability to take on these projects, and your pace of change. So what Astute has done is we've designed an offer for customers to do something now on cloud, and we're calling it our 2020 Vision offer. And this is valid for the remainder of calendar year 2020. And the way it works is you can choose one of 5 programs that we've designed for you on the left-hand side. And the first one is Arc-Lab. So PeopleSoft on OCI. You can choose one or more instances, but in this case, this offer is for your first instance on cloud. Disaster recovery on OCI for PeopleSoft. Analytics on OCI, we have some accelerators and pre-built solutions, and then chatbots. Whichever program you choose, you will get a cloud workshop that will get you your target architecture, your roadmap, your migration plan, and a detailed quote for the migration. We will set up a tenancy and migrate your workload to cloud. We will implement everything on cloud so that it is secure, it's integrated, and it's tested. We will train you on how to use OCI so that you can enable your teams, and then you can look at what other things you want to do by yourself. We are always there to help you to do more, but we want you to be trained and be self-sufficient. All of this for a fixed fee of $20,000. And to take advantage of this, all you have to do is click on this link. It'll take you to our website. It'll take you to a landing page that describes all these offers. Click on any of these offers and see the details of each of these offers. Fill out a form and we'll get you started. These migrations that we're talking about for 20,000, each of them will be completed in less than 2 to 3 weeks start to finish. So it is highly automated, it's accelerated, it's a compelling price point, and we hope we can work with you to get you started on your cloud journey. Now, if you're already an Oracle Cloud customer, but you're not deploying yet, or you're not using it for PeopleSoft and you have credits and you want to start using them, we can still apply this offer and help you consume and accelerate your cloud migrations. So with that, I'm done, and I thank you again for taking time out of your busy days and participating in this session at the Appian Innovation Summit. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Arvind. We are at about 10 minutes to the top of the hour. So I've noticed a lot of questions going into the question section of the control panel. Those have been captured. They will be sent over to Arvind, and they can certainly be responded to. So at this time, I would like to thank Astute Business Solutions for your session today. I would like to encourage anybody to go learn more about Astute. They are at www.beastute.com. It sounds like a great offer that was discussed there. And lastly, I would like to mention that future PeopleSoft Innovation Summits are currently being planned. We will be sending out a survey on Friday, and your feedback on what you've been seeing today, yesterday, would be greatly appreciated, what you would like to see in the future. It's very, very helpful as we're planning our programming moving forward. And we'd certainly like to encourage you all to follow Appsian if you are interested in PeopleSoft security topics. I sure hope everybody here is. You can follow us at LinkedIn and Twitter. And of course, to learn about future events, you can also check out www.appsian.com. So coming up next, we are actually talking about access management with our good friends at Thales. So building future-facing access management, that's going to be coming up in about 10 minutes. If you're not signed up, go back to the registration page, sign yourself up. Will be a great session. So stick around, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you.